All right. I am live. Gonna wait for a few viewers to come on, and then we'll kind of get into it. Small announcement to make, and just kind of give you guys an update on how winter's going, how ice fishing's going, and then be open to questions and kind of give a Q&A. I'm fishing on a no-name pond in western Maine. I'm in the ice tent right now, just having an absolute blast. I love this winter ice camping stuff. It's so much fun for me. Usually takes a day or two for me to settle in and get super comfortable, but by the time I'm here for 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 days, then I'm so comfortable I actually don't want to leave. But a lot of it is comes down to getting home and editing and getting in the office and the computer and getting some editing done. But I'm just about to put some cookies. Let me show you those cookies. Look at those cookies. Just about to put some of those cookies into the oven. Let me see if I can do this. Keep you guys on. All right, yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna put these in. This is a Coleman oven that goes on top of a propane stove. So I picked up some of this tin foil today, and these are going in. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But what could be better than nice warm cookies on the ice? Or at least cold cookies tomorrow. There's a lot of cookies in there. Those are regular cookie dough with chunks of Oreo mixed in. So how could that not be just awesome? I think it's going to be great. But those need to cook for about 15, maybe 20 minutes with this heat. So somebody, please remind me in about 20 minutes to check on the cookies. Maybe 15 minutes. That'd be awesome if you guys are still here. And if somebody remembers, because it's 7 o'clock right now, so pretty good chance I won't remember. But yeah, so the cookies are in. They are in the Coleman oven. Donnie gave me this. This was Woody Keene's oven. And that goes on top of the Coleman stove. That's my percolator right there. I don't have any coffee in it right now. I just have some warm water. And there's some apple cider right there, some hot apple cider. So we're going to fill that up. And then I'll show you guys around camp a little bit. How's that sound? All right, so we got some nice hot apple cider going right there. What could be better than that, guys? What could be better than that? And I'm in the camp. Did some fishing today. This trip, I'm going to get to the questions in a minute. So if I missed your question, just feel free to put it again once I start the question period of this in the comments. But I want to just let you guys know now that we got about 100 people on or more. This trip is trying to catch not only a state record fish, but I'm actually trying to catch a world record on this trip. And the first half hour fishing, after setting up, I had like maybe an hour left of light. I went out, and a good buddy of mine, CJ from Burnt Meadow Guide Service, he found some fish, and he put me on them. He gave me a call. I was halfway to Chizuncook Lake, and he called, and I had to stop in and see my snowmobile dealer at Chase and Unity and get a few things done, just some maintenance stuff. And he gave a call, and he's like, hey, we're on some monsters of this one species that I've been after, and it's one of the most fun fish for me to catch through the ice. And turns out he was on some monsters. When CJ gets excited like that, because he's one of them guys who doesn't always get super excited, but I could hear it in his voice. So I literally turned around, changed the direction of my trip, and came over here in western Maine, and I'm going to be able to fish with my good buddy CJ for a couple days, and maybe a few of his buddies too. I'm hoping to do a night of cusk fishing. If I have service, or if I bring the Starlink Mini with me, then I'll shoot live. And if we can get into some cusk and get decent cusk fishing, I'll shoot live on that. Let me turn this light that direction a little bit. There we go. That thing's giving me a suntan. Had to put the old SPF on, SPF 40. But yeah, so we might do some cusk fishing this trip at night. Maybe shoot a live for that for you guys that stay up pretty late. But tomorrow's... So back to the story. So first half hour, very first fish I caught is a new state record. And I didn't get it certified because I was only here a half hour and I was still kind of unpacking. And then I caught another one that would have beat the state record too. So, so I'm on some pretty good fish. And I'm just hoping I can do it again. And a good buddy of mine, Sean from Minnesota, who's one of the best crappie fishermen I've ever met, he told me that not only was I near the state record, but I was actually near the world record. Now, we're not talking crappie. We're not talking black crappie here or anything like that. But that's actually a possibility too. CJ caught a crappie tonight. If you guys follow his Instagram, I hope he posts a picture either tonight or tomorrow. But CJ caught a giant crappie. He's a big boy, and it's hard for him to make fish look big. And wait till you guys see this fish. It's pretty awesome. So the purpose and the goal of this trip is to get out here and just do something I love to do, is ice fish, do some winter ice camping, and then I'm shooting for a state, maybe world record on this trip. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine too. You know, success isn't measured in pounds, ounces, length, or fish caught, but it's more in the challenge that you put on yourself and how you go about, you know, facing that challenge every day and working hard to try to get there. So that's what I've challenged myself with, and that's what I'm gonna shoot for this this week. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do some cuss fishing. We're gonna get some cuss nuggets and do a fish fry. We're gonna do a pretty good fish fry. Do some fish tacos. Tonight I had chicken pot pie. This Coleman oven just works awesome. And I usually bring something pre-made, like a chicken pot pie. It's got your chicken in it, your carrots, your peas, and then a broth and inside of a nice shell. And if for some reason you forget your oven, or you don't own one of these tabletop ovens like this, you can just do it in your fry pan too and heat it up. So makes for a good meal, easy cleanup. And if you're camping alone like I am this trip, then a lot of times you can get 2 meals out of it. So that was dinner tonight. Dessert's going to be those cookies I threw in. Hopefully you guys remind me in about 10 minutes to at least check on them. I think they're going to take about 15 minutes to cook. I'll have to turn the temp up on those. Yeah. And that's it. So that's what's going on right now. I'm staying on a small lake in western Maine right now. I get a pretty good view of Mount Washington. All right. So the announcement is, you guys have been asking for years for me to get some merch, for me to get t-shirts, for me to get merch for you guys and stuff like that. And today, we finally launched it. We have 3 t-shirts. I posted them today on my Instagram, 3 t-shirts from the channel. And to make it way easier on me, I'm working with one of my favorite people and one of my favorite businesses in Maine. It's another small business, is Sean from Jack Traps. And Jack Traps has them on his website right now. All 3 t-shirts from the channel. He has them in 3 different colors, 3 different t-shirts, and all the different sizes. And if you go to Jack Traps and look in the clothing section, I believe he has them all up. I think they were shipping a bunch today. So yeah, so you saw them at Jack Traps. So the first one is cusk nuggets. It's just one of my favorite things to eat, and it's something that kind of got popularized on the channel. I ate my very first cusk nuggets at one of my best friend Stevie's mom's house years and years ago, when we were just knee-high to a grasshopper ice fishing. We caught a cusk, and she said, "Those are really good eating." And we said, "No, can't be good eating. Oh, that's the ugliest fish I've ever seen. Can't be any good." And she cooked it up. She made the first cusk nuggets I've ever had. And since then, it's been my favorite fish and one of my favorite foods of all time. I like it better than chicken or chicken nuggets, I guess. And it's something that is just out there swimming around that a lot of people don't realize just how good they are. So it's kind of been something that we popularized on the channel, and we made a pretty cool logo with that. Let me know if you guys liked it. I kind of liked it, so we ran with it. So that's the first one. The second one is going to be one of my absolute favorite. They're all my favorite, but the second one is one of my favorite too. And this is one a lot of people have asked for, is Donnie's Donuts. Actually, I can show you what that one looks like right now. I do have this one. So there he is. Look at that. There's the man, the myth, the legend, Donnie's Donuts. So we made it like it's a real business, and like it's a place that you could go visit, and it's got Donnie's face on it, which he was cool to put on there, and I think he's gonna be pretty pumped. If anybody ever asked Donnie for an autograph on that shirt, if you would get a Donnie's Donut shirt, man, he would just be besides himself. He wouldn't even believe it. So that'd be kind of cool if you ever get a chance. I mean, if you get a chance to meet Donnie, that's a great day anyway. And I cherish all the time that I get to spend with him. So the second one is the Donnie's Donut shirt. And then the third one is something funny that we kind of popularized on the channel, is the Lewiston Lobster Company. So it's not really a company, and there is no real Lewiston Lobster Company. And there are no lobsters in Lewiston. But there's these things in Maine, we call them red snappers. They're red hot dogs, and they don't really have red hot dogs too many other places in the country where I've been. And it's just been one of the funny things that we've called them over the years. Is called them Lewiston lobsters instead of a red hot or a snapper or a red hot dog. So we kind of coined that into the Lewiston Lobster Company. So, you know, if you get one of those shirts, and I'm sure people will see it and be like, I didn't know there was a Lewiston Lobster Company, or I didn't know there was lobsters in Lewiston. So it kind of gives you that little bit of mystique and appeal with that shirt too. So those are the 3 shirts. I posted them on my Instagram and to my fishing Facebook page today, and they are live and already shipping from Jack Traps in Monmouth, Maine. You can pick them up there yourself if you want to check out the sizes and everything, or you can just order through his website. And that's just going to make it so much easier for me. You know, I don't have the time to ship shirts and take returns or ship out this one or whatever. You know how it is. So it's just going to be a lot easier. Sean's already got the infrastructure set up at Jack Traps, and you could just add it to your Jack Trap order if you want to get a shirt or anything like that. It's not something we're going to make a ton of money on or anything like that, but it's a fun thing to do. And you guys been asking long enough, and I hate telling people no anyway, so it's something we were able to pull together this year. So that was the announcement. Cookies in the oven. Got some fish waiting for me tomorrow. Oh, yeah, that's the other big announcement, or kind of a big announcement, is I'm trying out a new tent tonight. I don't know if you guys can see that or not in the background. It usually says Eskimo there. Well, I'm still running Eskimos. I still absolutely love Eskimo, but I'm trying the new Jiffy shack. Jiffy is remaking their image. They were like the leader in ice fishing for decades before probably a lot of you guys were born, or when a lot of you guys got into ice fishing. And they kind of didn't really make a lot of improvements for a lot of years. And they kind of fell behind. With ice fishing made like a huge jump when it got into these portables, the pop-up tents, the electric augers, and some other, you know, a lot of the clothing for ice fishing. So Jiffy's jumping back in under new ownership, and they're gonna come to the front. I really believe that. So I wanted to try out this new shack, similar to the 850 XD from Eskimo, but it's a little bit bigger. It's gives you 2 extra square foot, and it has a lot of differences. I would call this one made more for like winter ice camping, maybe a little bit less for fishing. You know, it's a beast. It's like 100 pounds rather than 78 like the 850 is. So it's heavier duty, and then it has like a lot of different features that are really cool, as far as giant windows, as you can see in the background. They zip up on each side, and there's just so many small things on this. And then it has a vestibule on the doorway that gives me like a mudroom, kind of like a mudroom style, we would call it in Maine or New England. So testing it out, I've spent one night in it, and it was an awesome night. I ran my new diesel heater, which I'll talk to you guys about that soon too. I ran that on like mid to low last night, and where I was sleeping was probably, I don't know what the temp was over there. It might have been in the 50s or 60s, but over here, way on the other side of the tent, that's usually frozen, like the last trip I did when it was sub-zero. It actually stayed 40 degrees over here on the far end of the tent. So I don't know. I think it's a lot of factors involved. You know, like CJ and I were talking about it this morning. So I put down a foam floor on top of my wood floor, as you can see under it. So I have my wood floor, and then I have my foam floor on top of it. And then this Jiffy tent is pretty thick and pretty heavy. So it's got a lot of insulation. The windows zip up, which is really nice, so you're not losing any heat in or out of that. And then it does have another like tarp that you put over the top of it for like a sleet and rain shield too, which is going to give you that extra layer that might hold some heat in. And then the vestibule, which is out here, is like a mudroom, and that protects your door from more stuff coming in. I'll show you guys that right now. So yeah, so instead of just popping right outside, oh, now I got another room right there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's another room. There's a whole nother room right there where I can keep like my diesel can, and I can keep some trash out there. I can keep some food that I want to keep frozen, and I don't want to be thawed out there, and still have no worries from anyone seeing it or animals or wind blowing it away or anything like that. Oh, is it time to check the cookies? Yeah, a rainfly, you can call it. So yeah, so those are the updates. Don't think I've missed much. I hope you guys are enjoying the series that I posted. I just posted a video tonight, about an hour ago, of yellow perch fishing, and we got into some really big yellow perch. So I'm hoping to do that again this week. Get on some big yellow perch, get on some big panfish, maybe a few lake trout, and then definitely some cusk. So that's kind of the goal for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoy that episode from tonight. And I might have a couple guests. Special guests that you haven't seen on the channel in a little while this trip. We're going to see. We're going to see how it works out. So yeah, so that's it. I'll show you around the shack a little bit. I'm cooking some cookies right now. I got some hot water going for tea or a warm apple cider right there. There's the Jiffy logo in the thing. I got a really cool Stanley thermos that one of my viewers sent me. I want to thank you for that. Came with a note on it. Thank you for sending me that or dropping that off at Jack Traps. Temp's dropping pretty good. It's 57 in here. It's 12 degrees outside right now and dropping. And then there's my bed with a bunch of camera stuff on it. Got a diesel heater going over there. I brought a generator to charge like the live scope and charge the batteries. I haven't settled on my battery situation yet for the diesel heater, but the one I'm running is it's a power box, and it can run, it's like a 45 amp hour, so it can run like 3 pretty long nights on the diesel heater on like mid-range or so, and then I got to charge that up. So that's why I brought the Honda generator, in case I want to just charge a bunch of stuff while I'm out fishing. I can just let that run here in camp. So yeah, so that's camp for you. I brought another diesel heater too. I got 2 diesel heaters that I'm trying out. I'm not with a diesel heater company or sponsored or anything like that. So I bought one that got pretty high reviews. I'd call it like a mid to high range. It's a high range Chinese one. It's not a high range diesel heater because those get into like the $1,000 range. I think there's some German companies that sell them for like $1,000 or $1,500. So the first one I bought is an H Calorie Toolbox Max that is around $260, and that's the one I've been running. Been really happy with it. And then I bought the same model of it from Vivor for a little bit less than half the price. So I got to try that at home. Seemed to work pretty good. The fuel pump in that one is audible. You can actually hear the fuel pump in that one, but it won't keep me up at night. And I haven't tried it yet camping, but I'll just take a night and swap those out and try the Vivor so I can give you guys an honest review on that. And then I'm looking to work with a battery company for a lithium battery to run these heaters too for the future. So yeah, so that's the update. We better check on these cookies. Let's check these cookies. All right. Thanks for the reminder. Whoa, what do you think of them things? I threw a little butter in there hoping that they wouldn't stick too. All right, they look like they need a little bit more time. Let's give them a little bit more time. All right, I really need somebody to remind me in like 5 minutes to check those cookies, because there's a pretty good chance we get on a topic here, I start answering some questions or whatever, and I forget about it. So please, in the comment section in about 5 minutes, just say, hey, check those cookies. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna answer some questions now. So feel free, fire some questions at me, and all right, the first one I read: try and fish without a fish finder and see how good you are at fishing. I've done both. I fished for years without a fish finder or without live scope, I guess is what people get really upset. It's like a trigger word for a lot of people. People that don't own a live scope get really triggered by it, or that don't have a forward facing sonar or even a foreign facing sonar. But yeah, I can catch them. I can catch them without it. I can catch them with it, and I'm not being cocky or arrogant or anything like that. It's just a history of really fortunate that my dad taught me how to read lakes and how to read structure and how to read the banks on those lakes to show you where the structure could be or where it will be, and what type of stuff to fish. So yeah, I can catch them with or without, but it just makes it so much more efficient, so much more enjoyable to me to use the live scope, and there's so many advantages to it. So CJ wants me to save a few cookies for him. Pretty good chance of that, buddy. There's 9 in there. If they keep getting any bigger, it's just going to be one big one. So I'll save you some for sure. Ashton wants to see the GoPro. What do you want to see a GoPro? It's just a GoPro. So this one, I have about 7 or 8 GoPros here. This one's just a Hero 13. I think it's the latest one they have. It's the Hero 13 Black. And I run it on one of these goosenecks, and then with one of these clamps, and it seems to work really well wherever I am, to just hook that onto the snowmobile or hook it onto a pole on the tent or hook it up to a tree while I'm trapping, or just put it on a shovel, like if I want to get a sunrise or something like that. So that's the GoPro I'm using like every day. And then I have 12s, 9s, 10s. I don't think I have any Hero 11s. It must have been a bad year or something like that. But I do have a number of GoPros that I use to set up for different stuff. So yeah, so you're on Long Lake in Harrison, Maine. Huh, interesting. I've actually don't know if I've ever been to Harrison, Maine. But we chasing crappie or finally on the trout? Well, today we caught some trout. We messed around and found trout. And the rest of this trip, we're probably not chasing either one of those much. But yeah, so diesel heater setup, question mark. You want to know what I'm running for diesel heater? Yeah, so that was the setup I just told you, was that H Calorie Toolbox Max. It's an 8K. Seems to do pretty well. The last trip I did, I averaged probably close to 20 below zero at night. This morning was 5 below zero, and I was sweating in my sleeping bag. But I really don't need a heater, and I'm not saying that like to be macho or tough or anything. I've done so many nights like in my truck or outdoors with just a sleeping bag in cold temperatures that I've kind of got accustomed to it. So maybe as I get older, I'll like a little bit more heat. But where are the trout videos? The trout vids, you could probably just do a search like on my channel. I probably have 40 ice fishing trout videos, and maybe like 2 to 5 open water trout videos. So yeah, just do a search like through my videos. There's like a little search bar on YouTube, so if you want to watch those. So yeah, there's Moosey's teasing you. That's funny. Alaska ice fishing, very good. Thank you for tuning in. Does a diesel heater put off a diesel odor? I'm guessing you're saying. No. The only time I've ever smelled like that odor or like a bad smell or exhaust is when I unplugged it by accident, and I didn't shut it off and let it cool down. And I want to say like maybe it backfired or the fuel pump kept going and the burner stopped. So it gave out like a puff of a bad smell that lasted for 10 seconds or so. But while you're camping, no, it doesn't at all. Like I keep the diesel heater in here. I'll show you guys what that looks like. So that's the diesel heater right there. That's it. And it's vented. It's actually vented outside underneath. I don't have the best setup right now, but that's working really well for me. So that's the exhaust. The intake is on this side. The outtake is on this side. And then you could hang like a fan. This one's not even on because it's plenty warm enough in there. Or you could put a fan like on the floor if you really want to push that air around. But that's the setup that I'm running right now for the diesel heater. And as I run it longer and give it more of a test and do a couple trips, you know, packing it, unpacking it, running across the lake, giving it a little bit of a test that way, I'll give you guys a really good honest review, and I'll compare it to one that's half price, that Vevor, which is, there's a Vevor right there, if you can see it, underneath my cast iron fry pan and next to my Starlink box. Yeah, so I don't have any cell service here where I am right now, so I'm running a Starlink Mini for the first time ever, and I think I'm going to take that out on the lake and do some cusk fishing with it one night too, and just do a live fishing from the tent. So how much ice are you on? I'm on probably 20 inches here. Yeah, it was around 20 inches. Today I actually fished a little bit on Sebago, which is the deepest lake in the state of Maine. It's 330 foot deep or so, second biggest lake. And I fished on an area I've never ever iced fished before because it doesn't often freeze up on that bay. And we had anywhere from 10 to 12 inches of ice everywhere, which is pretty neat. What kind of setup are you using? What sort of fish are you after? This trip's going to be a lot more panfish. I just love pan fishing, man. It's just so much fun for me. And I'm going to actually set some jack traps this trip, and I'll do a big perch day and do a perch feed and try to catch some of those great big yellow perch like the video that we posted tonight with CJ. If you guys are into panfish or into crappie, give CJ a call at Burnt Meadow Guide Service. He's a good, just one of the best guys I know. And he caught some crappie today that he was actually really excited about. He had over 31 inches in 2 crappie today in the last 2 that he caught. So they were big. They were big. And Mike, do you find that the live scope spooks fish at all? Like the frequency's too high for them? I'm still playing old Vex guy, but I'm not very mobile usually. Yes, 100%. Oh, I just got a message. Check them cookies. Thank you, Kenny. Let's see. What do you guys think? Yeah, I knew I'd forget. Oh, man. They looked... I don't know. What do you guys think? Not done yet, right? Look at that. Whoa, definitely not done yet. I think if you put like a fork in it, and if it comes back with nothing on it... Yeah, we're going to let them cook. We're going to let them cook a little bit longer. Don't forget, remind me in 5 minutes, guys, to check them cookies. We're going to let them cook another 5 minutes. Hopefully don't burn them. But yeah, Mike, the live scope does spook fish. Yes, it does. A little bit more shallower. Like today we were fishing like 100 foot deep. He was in the 62. And I don't think they can feel it at that depth at 100 foot. But certain days, I want to say like high pressure days, bluebird sky days, maybe days where there's no wind or no activity on the ice. I've seen them hit like a stitch where there's like 2 beams coming together and stop and literally do a 90 and go the other way. And it's usually like a footage like 18 or 22 foot. And man, if you're shooting forward at them, you will see 100 fish coming at you, coming towards you, and you're getting excited. And then at that 18-foot mark, they will turn and do like a 90 or a 180 even, or go completely around you and show back up again at 18 or 22 foot on the other side of you. So yes, it will spook them sometimes, you know, when that bite is tough. Not all the time. I mean, it's, you know, I've got a lot of hours with it on the ice, and I'd say I guess like 10% of the time maybe it will spook them. And I've actually talked to some engineers at Garmin about it, And I was expecting them to say, no, no, it doesn't. And they told me, yeah, it sure does. So, yeah, so the fish can feel it. A lot of people, if they mark one and they're coming at them, they'll just turn it away so they're not sending a laser beam at them or the phasers at them. And then a lot of guys will switch to down scan instead of forward scan when that happens too. So it is an interesting thing. It is definitely an interesting thing, but I don't believe like a Vexilar or the old 2D sonar spooked them like this live scope will. Matt Quigley, what are some tips you have for night cusk and togue fishing? Um, I've done my best just keeping a jig active on the bottom. You know, once again, there you don't really need you don't really need electronics. Electronics enhances it, makes it more fun for the fishermen. But if you want to just be successful and catch a bunch of cusk, all you really need you don't have to get into fancy lures or anything or colors or anything like that. If you can get a glow jig, just a jig head, like a basic jig head, most of the time a half ounce will do you just well, and then just put a piece of meat on it, you know, like a piece of fish, a little bit bigger than your thumbnail. It doesn't even have to be huge. The bigger it is, the more of a chance you're going to miss that fish on the hook. So you want to make it bite size for the size of the cusk that you're after, and just keep bouncing it off the bottom, and then get into a rhythm where you bounce it maybe 10 times and then lift it up. Just hold it like a foot or two off the bottom. They'll come like 20 foot off the bottom if they want to, and then just hold it. And usually they'll get it. You know, give it a couple bounces and just hold it. That's pretty much keeping it as simple as you can for cusk. So hopefully that helps you out. What is the perfect sleeping temperature in the tent for you? Um, you know, I honestly don't know what that is. I'll tell you that anything inside the tent, if it's 10 below inside the tent, then I'm not comfortable. Because my ears will start ringing whenever it's 10 below zero and I'm sleeping like outside or in a sled or in my truck or whatever. So I'd say anything above 10 below zero inside is comfortable for me. Last week, I had a lot of nights where it was like 18, 20 degrees below zero. 24 was the coldest. But in the tent, it was not that cold because my ears never rang. And that's usually a telltale sign when I'm camping out or sleeping in my truck and I don't know what the temp's going to be that night, is if my ears start ringing and getting loud, then I'm like, whoa, okay, it's 8, 9, 10 below zero or colder. So I guess the answer to that question is anything above 10 below inside. Yep. B Husky says, first time on the channel. I am from Maine. When is Donnie going to be with you again? And Brandon and his crew, they're a bunch of characters. Also love watching you guys as I do the same things. So that's Lindsay Marie Burke. So Donnie's going to be back in around a month. He's on an extended vacation to Vancouver Island, and he's going to be back in about a month, just in time, hopefully, to get up to the camp in the North Maine woods and do some work and some projects up there. He's pretty excited about that. Brandon and I and the crew are trying to get together and shoot some pretty cool content coming up. So stay tuned for that. You must be close to Harrison. I don't know why people keep saying that. Got a bunch of lumber for his boxes. Need a good battery recommendation. I can't honestly give you that right now, but give me a couple weeks and I'll be able to test. I don't like to give recommendations until I put stuff through the test, guys, like on the channel and bring it out camping and transport it and make sure it doesn't break and then run it for several nights. So I can't give you a great recommendation right now. I'm just running my diesel heater off a couple of my battery boxes. They're not batteries. They're like one of them is an EcoFlow, and it's like the equivalent of like a 45 amp hour lithium battery. I would recommend like 100 amp hour. It really depends how long you plan on going out. Tim's on Moosehead this weekend. Did you find a retailer for that Jiffy, or did you order it online? So this one came straight from the company. I don't think they went to retail this year, just to keep up with demand and with the supply chain. So I think next year they're actually going to be in retailers. So look for them next year in retailers. Otherwise, you have to go direct online with them. Ashton says, "Come chase salmon with us." Dewey and Corey are here at Moosehead. I got to meet Dewey the other day for the first time. It was truly an honor. I had a great time with him. How you doing, Joe? It's time for some muskie fishing. I like the sound of that. Yes, it is. It's getting really close to the time for muskie fishing. I'm gonna check these cookies. Let's check these cookies again, guys. I don't know. It's hard to say when they're done. I've never made these type of cookies before. Oh man, they're getting big. Anybody got a trick to let me know when it's so soft on the inside. Look at that. I don't think they're done. That looks pretty doughy, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they're not done. These are going to be like the longest cookies ever. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. All right. Josh said, that's awesome. He said, the wife saw your fish taco vid. She refuses to eat tacos without the hard shell combo. Calls you a modern day genius. I wish I thought of that. A lot of people have done that before me, but it's something I wanted to share with you guys because it really enhances the whole thing. And guys with beards have to eat a little bit differently because as otherwise it just gets in your beard or your taco blows up. So yeah, I appreciate that. The rock bass world record. I want to say the rock bass world record's like 3 pounds or 3-1 or something like that. I want to say it was in like Pennsylvania. So Joel said, any furs available to buy? Yes, I will have some furs this year. I shipped some to the tannery, and then I ended up shipping a lot of the marten to auction. I got together with some of the partners, and they thought it'd be a better idea to send the marten to auction. Marten are gonna. There's a potential that marten go for like the craziest price of my entire life this year. I mean, it's all speculation until the auction's done, but the Chinese have really taken a liking to pine marten, and they're driving up the price pretty good. It's so I don't think we're gonna have much for marten for sale, but we didn't ship any fisher to auction. We saved a bunch of weasel, and CJ and I are going to do a bunch of stuff with the beaver too. So there's a pretty good chance. Something I've always wanted in a cabin or the house or whatever is a beaver hoop. So like beaver are open scun, so they're round. The pelt is round when you're done with it, or like an oval. And then you can take a willow, like the Native Americans used to do, and bend that willow around it, and then run sinew or leather strap or a catgut, and it stretches that pelt out even though it's already tanned, and it looks just awesome for display. So I know I'm going to do at least 2 of those for myself, and there's a pretty good chance we're going to have those, and we'll do those up and have those for sale for you guys too. Cookies been 5 minutes. Yep, they have. I'm going to keep an eye on them. Check the cookies, man. You guys are the best. Thank you. Billy Holden, you have the sweetest setups. Thank you. I appreciate that, Billy. I do like those cookies a little bit crispy. Cookie alert. Tim, yeah, so we're going to ship most of the marten to the auction, and then we should have fisher, weasel, and beaver available. Billy enjoys the streaming. I appreciate that. Thank you. Donnie's doing really well. It's just always great to hear from him. Yeah, Ashton said we need a We Got Activity t-shirt with a fisher. So there's a good chance we're going to do some more shirts. If people like these, if they're popular, if you guys buy them from Jack Traps, you know, if you're just tuning in now, guys, I had mentioned that we made some t-shirts for the channel, and they went live today for sale. and we're going to sell them through Jack Traps. They have an online store. There's a clothing section on their website if you go to Jack Traps website, or you can go right to the store in Monmouth, Maine, and see Sean and buy the shirts there. But we did 3 different T-shirts from the channel. We did a Cusk Nuggets one, we did a Donnie's Donut one, and we did a Lewiston Lobster one. So if they do well, you know, and we sell through them, or people like them, maybe we'll do a couple new ones every year. Maybe we'll just do them seasonally, you know, like as trapping season comes up. I think we got to have a trapping one too, because a lot of the viewers picked up the channel through the trapping seasons. So yeah. So how many days are you spending out? I really don't have a schedule. That's the great thing about it. I mean, it could be 7, it could be 10, could be 15. I'm looking forward to going to the dog sled race in Fort Kent at the end of the month. So that's pretty much the only thing I have planned. Did you switch to diesel from propane because of the moisture propane puts out? Yeah, I did it for that reason and for reliability too. I always had a hard time with those propane heaters, whether it was the heater, whether it was the maintenance on the heater, whether it was the propane. I don't know. They just seemed to be more trouble than good at the end of the day. And whereas I didn't need a lot of heat, I just stopped running them, and then it just put out so much moisture. Like if you're staying for 7 or 10 days on the ice and you're running a propane heater, man, it's just, there's like this much ice and frost in here, and it's just wet. It kind of smells a little bit like when it's drying out. I just wasn't a fan of the propane at all. And I've heard some horror stories of people dying because of the propane too. So I try to kind of stay away from that. But yeah, I switched over to the diesel finally. I gave the wood stove a try. The wood stove was awesome until it wasn't. It was like the hottest, nicest, driest heat ever. And Donnie would get that thing cranking when we'd camp together. The pipe would be glowing. I'd be laying on top of my bed, nothing but boxers, just sweating my boxers off almost, and fall asleep finally because the heat just kills you after a day ice fishing like that. And then maybe like an hour and a half later, start to get cold, crawl into bed, you know, sweaty, and then like a half hour after that, the fire's out, and you're finally like dead asleep, and then you don't want to stoke it or get up every like 2 hours. So the wood stove just wasn't a good heat source for me. I'm gonna check those cookies. They're getting there, guys. They're getting there. Yeah, maybe another like 10 minutes on those cookies. Yeah. So the wood stove as a heat source didn't work for me. The propane didn't really work for me. I tried a vented propane with that New Way stove, and I couldn't get the thing to do what I needed it to do. So, you know, I know a lot of people got offended when I said that because they really defend like the New Way brand or whatever. And if you got it to work for you, I'm happy for you. I just didn't have it figured out too well. And once again, you know, you're bringing propane cans and canisters and stuff like that. So I'm trying the diesel heater. I've run it for maybe 10 nights. This trip, just one so far. And I've been super happy with it. It's been on and running the whole time, so you can kind of hear it. It's constant, you know, it's a constant sound. So if you guys, you know, sleep with like a sound machine or something like that, it's a lot like a sound machine, and it's nice to sleep with at night. So cookies are burnt. Nah, they're not burnt, guys. For some reason they're just taking a long time to cook. Flip your tank. I don't know that one. Oh, like the propane tank? Yeah, that's right. We're gonna turn that tank up. So this little green canister is starting to get low. And if you guys ever if it sounds like it's getting low or running out or starting to frost up and you see your frost line, if you flip it over like that, because propane is also a liquid, it's like a liquid gas, then you'll get the rest of that bottle out of it that way. So thank you for reminding me of that. When's Donnie coming back? He's going to be probably about a month or so. Haha, Brett's on. Not yet. Nice, Brett. When it's negative 20, what's the temp inside the tent with a diesel heater? Looking to get away from propane for camping. So I don't know what you can get it up to for a heat. And a lot of that depends on the size of the tent you're in and how hard's the wind's blowing. But I just ran it on like mid to low when it was negative 20. And one end of the tent was still freezing. One end of the tent was not freezing. So it was probably like 40. It was probably like a 60-degree difference, which is pretty good. So MJP, is it worth chasing brookies on Sebago? I'd say not. I'll give you a tip. Go to Otter Ponds and try Otter Ponds if you want to catch some brookies. Big fans from Indiana. Thank you very much, Jordan, for tuning in. Stave Man says that there's some species that spook more than others from the live scope. New t-shirt logo, Coleman Cookies. Billy Holden. Where does a guy acquire green Woolrich flannel you're sporting? Like that green one right there is a Johnson Wools, and that's a super well-known company that's just produced incredibly quality garments out of Vermont. In Johnson, I think it's Johnson, Vermont, actually. So check out Johnson Wools. How about a winter trip video at the off-grid camp? You got that actually coming, Scott? That is coming. Ain't got no gas in it, Jason said. Hello from Ohio, John. All right, cookies. What's your top 3 favorite jig colors for those big Maine crappie? I'll just tell you my top 1 color, because other than that, I don't really have too many favorites. My favorite color is that Wonder Bread. That Wonder Bread, man. I've just seen that work wonders. What do you guys think of these cookies? They done? They're still, oh, yeah. I bet you if I shut that off and just shut the door, they'll finish cooking on their own. But you know what? We're almost out of propane in this canister, so I'll just let that burn out. And yeah, I'll let that propane burn out. But yeah, my top color for Maine crappie, panfish would be definitely Wonder Bread, and then like a little yellow perch or a white are my next favorite colors. And then just a straight black is hard to beat in fishing. It doesn't sell as well, to the fisherman. It doesn't catch the fisherman, but it catches the fish. There's Brett. You doing the winter carnival in Bridgeton tomorrow? I am not. So no more wood stoves. I don't foresee myself using a wood stove tent camping unless I plan on staying somewhere for a long time. And it's going to have to be a much larger wood stove than the one that I used. I was using like a Winterwell Nomad. Great quality stove, stainless stove. But it just didn't work for how I sleep and my schedule. And I like an even heat. Just an even heat. I don't care if it's 10 degrees or if it's 50 degrees. But with the wood stove, you go like this, and then it just goes like this, and then it goes like this. And I just hate waking up in the middle of the night to stoke a wood stove 2 or 3 or 4 times if you're using just a tiny wood stove. Yeah, so the heat source I'm using inside the tent on this winter trip is a diesel heater. Cookies. Yep. Ashton, couldn't you have people park on the ice if you did a meet and greet? I could, man, but if people went through, who would they come after? Headed to Jack Traps tomorrow for the t-shirt and the traps. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited to see the t-shirts, like either on Instagram or Facebook or in person would be even cooler, I think. And I'm excited to hear what ones you guys like or how they do. Which one's selling the best or whatever. The diesel heater is wired. This one is 12 volt or 110. So since I have a battery box that'll take 110, I just have it running off 110. Oh, not enough firewood. $20 super chat. Whoa, thank you so much. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Super chats are incredible. Thank you. All right, if I missed any questions, guys, none of them are on purpose, so just write them again if you want me to try to get to them. What is your new tent? So this is the biggest tent that Jiffy makes. I'm testing out some different tents this year. So I have the biggest one Jiffy makes. I have the biggest one Eskimo makes, the newest one. And then I have a couple different sizes of the Eskimos that I'm going to try this year and put through the ringer. So Anthony Chase for the heater on the battery box. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got to that. Bill, you mentioned Western Maine Lake. So people guess Harrison, Naples, but too many lakes in Western Maine to guess. Man, you're not kidding. Like, I'm really impressed with how many bodies of water there are in this area where I am. It's truly endless, and they don't get any pressure or very much pressure because there's so many. It's a really good situation to try to find some big fish or good numbers on fish. Not enough firewood. Thank you again for the super chat. 15 more minutes on the cookies. Yeah, I better keep an eye on those cookies. We're probably getting close, aren't we? Let's check those. So I'm running a Coleman oven on top of my stove. Yeah, they're probably done. What do you guys think? Like, I don't see them like fluffed up anymore. Oh man, I bet you they're like gooey and chewy. It's cookie dough with Oreo pieces in it. Those ones in the back, oh yeah, they're a little bit soft in the back. Yeah. Yeah. They're a little soft in the back. Maybe I don't know if I can spin them. Yeah, look at that. Wow, they are smelling good. So it's regular like chocolate chip cookie dough with Oreo chunks mixed in. How good is that going to be? I think it's going to be pretty good. I'll just let that cook, I guess, until the propane runs out. So, making cookies on the ice. No, I don't have a toothpick, but I have a fork, so I've been poking it with that and seeing if it sticks onto it. Aziscahos Lake was one of my best days trolling for trout and salmon almost 20 years ago. Awesome. There's some really cool lakes in Maine. There's some really cool names to lakes in Maine. I'm fortunate that some of my best friends from out of state, like Brett, who's watching tonight, gets to come up here and fish. Now, he comes all the way from South Florida. And I guess some of the lakes down there, like Okeechobee and a lot of the towns, have like original Native American names. But there's a lot of lakes in Maine that have some weird names that are hard to pronounce. Now, Brett, he's a highly intelligent person, so he gets the pronunciations really well, like 99% of the time. But I have some other friends who struggle with the pronunciations. I'm not saying anything derogatory about those guys, because there are some really weird names, like Aziscahos or I don't know, Sabatis. That's actually a chief's name. Kabasakante, Damariscata, Maguntacook, Mooselick Maguntacook. I mean, you could just go down the whole list of funny names. Probably further west in Maine, you get into some pretty good ones too. So yeah, so Maine's got some pretty cool names to their lakes. But if you're just tuning in, guys, I am winter ice camping. You're gonna see a different logo on the tent for the first time ever. There it is. Look at that logo. So I'm testing out the new Jiffy ice tent. So far, after one full night and a little bit more time, there's the setup. I am really impressed by the tent. It's I don't know if this one would be like a one you'd bring on like every fishing trip, but this is definitely one for people who like to camp and spend more than a night or 2 nights on the water. It's made for something like that. Not enough firewood. Just went to Glacier Wear today and picked up my coyote hat. Want to do ice fishing this year. Got everything together, and I broke my leg. All new gear for next year. Oh, man, what a bummer. That's such a bummer, man. Sorry to hear that. I will post as many ice fishing videos as I can from here on out for all of the people who are not able to ice fish this year. So the temp is over 300 on those cookies. Yeah, we're going to call it no matter what. I'm going to shut those babies off, and we'll just let them sit in there and think about what they've done and finish kind of cooking with the heat that they already have. So, Joe, I missed the trivia. Fred, I can't remember the trivia. Oh, Fred from Florida? Man, if that's Fred from Florida, that's awesome. Andy Mike, beaver pelt on a hoop is an awesome display. Yeah, I'm so pumped to get some of those, for our places. The first beaver that we ever trapped from camp, CJ pulled it out and he said immediately, hey, that's going on the wall in camp. I don't care what we do with all these other pelts, but that one needs to go on camp. And I couldn't agree more. And it was really cool that he said that. And it's going to be awesome for me while I'm trapping to look back up and remember, beaver trapping with my buddy CJ up in the North Maine woods every time I look at that on the wall. And it's just beaver makes a really, really nice pelt. Nathan, you ice fishing right now? So I'm on the ice for an ice fishing trip. So I'm ice fishing during the day. I'm not ice fishing at night. This lake that I'm on has a little bit of a slush problem. So I don't want to drill any holes in the shack and then wake up underwater like I did one time when I was ice camping. So when I do some cusk fishing, I'll do it out of the tow behind flip over tent that I brought, the Eskimo Escape 2800. Anthony really enjoys the videos. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Josh Rogers, good evening, Trapper Joe. The wife just ordered me a Cuss Nugget shirt and got herself a Donny donut shirt. That is so awesome, man. So cool. So cool. Airy Plays. Ron said he's glad he found the channel. Down to earth. Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate that. Joe, where are you fishing now, and when are you going to Big Sebago? Believe it or not, I fished Big Sebago this morning. It was pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun. We saw over 50 fish on live scope. They were not biting very well. They were not cooperating, but we saw about 50 fish today. All lake trout. We were in like 100, right around 100 foot of water. So, have you ever fished Tunk Lake? I've not fished Tunk Lake. No. Anthony's going up to Moosehead next week. Good luck with that. I believe you can catch salmon you're allowed to keep salmon after the 15th of this month. So in 2 days, you're allowed to keep salmon out of Moosehead. Oh, I lost that last comment, but somebody said you definitely have to have a trapping shirt. Yeah, I just haven't thought of that one yet. Oh, that's awesome, Drexel. Thank you for tuning in. Good. I missed a lot of questions, guys. So if I missed your questions, they're not on purpose. It's just how this chat goes. Just feel free to put them in again if you want me to try to get to them, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. All right, I think I'm caught up. You definitely need a trapping shirt, Paul said. I agree. I don't know, maybe like a We Have Activity shirt or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think would be a cool trapping shirt? Oh, my second act, Steve. I did get your message on the drone videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yep, appreciate that. Yep, Zach Potter said Jack Trap should have a foam insulator for their traps. I think he's been really busy and just working his hardest right now with the products that he has. And I don't think he's adding any new products to the lineup since there already are some on the market as far as that goes. But I'll mention it. Oh, man, this comment. I have a buddy with a king-size beaver fur quilt from Damaged Furs, okay? Warmest, softest thing in the world. Just as soon keep him around but I requested he leave it to me when he kicks the bucket. Yeah, that's it's kind of my dream to have a beaver blanket or a fur blanket on the bed, and I believe we're going to be able to make that happen this year. I already talked with Glacier Wear, and a friend of mine also bought a fur sewing machine, and I think I'm going to really try to make that happen with some of the beaver that we caught this year. I just think it'd be the nicest blanket ever. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up and mentioning that. Robert stopped by to congratulate Brandon on his big Moose Head brookies last week on East Grand. Do you plan on fishing East Grand this winter? I think I'll probably fish East Grand this winter. I'm hoping they don't destroy that lake with a derby this weekend, but yeah, I do. I like to try to get East Grand in once a year. West Grand would be good too. Is it warm in the tent or is it Joe Holland tolerable? Well, it's like 65 in the tent, but I did have the oven going and the diesel heater going, so it's 12 degrees outside. It's 65 in here next to the oven where the oven was going for the last hour with the cookies. So yeah, I'd call it pretty warm. Uh, yeah, I don't see any snow on the floor or anything like that. So yeah, you'd call that warm, wouldn't you? Mr. Happy Camperville Farms watching from J Maine. What's your ideal size auger hole and make? I think that the Ion Alpha Plus is the best complete auger on the market. I've tried 5 different augers, maybe 6 in the last couple of years. My favorite's a 10-inch hole. I like, fishing in Maine and it gets cold and the hole gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, if you start with a 10-inch hole as opposed to an 8 or a 6 and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, the 10-inch gets smaller, slower, and less and leaves you with more hole as they freeze up and freeze in. So I've always preferred the 10-inch hole. I like a little bit more room to land the fish. There are some advantages to an 8 or even a 6-inch hole. If you can get the fish started in it, they have a really hard time turning in a narrower hole. Like a big crappie has a really hard time turning, and he has to come to the surface if you lose him in the hole. Whereas if you're running the 10-inch hole, a 15-inch crappie can get turned around in a 10-inch hole quicker than you think at the surface. So those are the advantages to running a smaller hole. It takes less power to drill smaller holes, but I've always preferred the 10. I like to have a little bit more room to work. I like it to freeze up slower. I like it to freeze up less. So the 10-inch hole. Plus, I've kind of cut my teeth ice fishing on great big pike and muskie and fishing for big lakers. So that's where I like the 10-inch better. Temperature in the oven. The heat indicator was saying like 350, but I'm sure it was much hotter in there. So Gary says, living your dream in Maine. Kind of personal question. How do you make all this happen without a full-time job or money, income, living the dream? Yeah, I mean, that's a personal question, but it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend, in life. And if you don't have, there's trade-offs. There's trade-off in life, like having kids, I think's awesome. I don't have kids, so that used to be. They said it costs like $1 million to raise a kid from age 0 to 18. If you have 2 or 3 kids, it's a lot of money. My parents spent a lot of money on us. We weren't spoiled or anything like that, but responsibilities like that. I currently do not have a wife or girlfriend or both. So there's a lot of money savings there. And I don't know. Just I guess it's not how much you make, it's how much you spend. Heading to Great East Lake for a couple days, Laker fishing. Good luck, Adam. There's the super chat from Not Enough Firewood. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Glow, yellow, and white are great colors. Yep, for for crappie and perch. You live on the ice. I appreciate that. I'm going to try to get caught up on some of these comments, guys. A couple years ago, you did a video about the top 10 ice fishing lakes in Maine. Sabattis was up there for pike. Hear a lot of guys talking about it not being any good. Your take, still good for pike? No, it's definitely taken a major beating. Like, that Derby didn't really do it any favors, and the state didn't do it any favors either. And it was in its life cycle, too. You know, it was in its life cycle of producing too many small ones, and then all the big ones were getting culled out by the Derby and by the state telling people that they need to kill all the pike. So it gave all the young ones an opportunity to survive. And when you have too many young ones, they compete against each other for what there is for forage and what there is for prey. And they don't grow to those big sizes because they're trying to support, you know, 1 million fish rather than 1,000 fish. And you really need those big fish in your ecosystems to keep everything in balance, to keep those small fish, to keep the population in balance. And that's one of the reasons why I do not fish derbies and I don't agree with kill derbies, is because it throws off the balance when you only target and kill the biggest fish in bodies of water. You know, and you do it year after year after year, and then guess what? You're just going to have a bunch of small fish in that body of water because you've harvested all the big ones that keep the small ones in check. And then when you overpopulate and have too many small ones, then you lose all of the feed and all of the prey. Like, I've literally seen it on a small body of water where there was no prey. There was zero prey in that water, and the fish were skinny, they were stunted, and they were diseased because of it. So that's one of the reasons why I don't do derbies, and that's the current status of Sabattis Lake. To answer that question, is it was over harvested for big fish and for the biggest possible fish in that lake for so many years due to that derby, that it allowed the small ones to thrive and overpopulate, and it's put a really hurting on that lake. So hopefully, you know, that helps some of you guys. I know the state and the department will tell you a lot of things from the biologists and stuff like that, but sometimes you just got to do your own thinking. So there's Drexel. Thanks, buddy. MJP loves the shirts. I'll be grabbing a Lewis the Lobster Company one. Awesome. Yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, we announced that we did 3 new shirts today from the channel. They're all sold at Jack Traps in Monmouth, and you can go online in Jack Traps online store and buy a t-shirt. 3 different t-shirts. We got a Cuss Nuggets, Donnie's Donuts, and Lewis the Lobster Company t-shirts are all for sale there. So you just go to Jack Traps website and check out the clothing section, and you'll be able to see them. Without giveaway, where are you now? I am on the ice right now. I guess we could just call it Western Maine, on a small lake. You got the Jiffy base camp. Did you get the vestibule? Yes, I do. I did a little walkthrough earlier, but you know what? Let's do a little walkthrough of camp. What do you guys think? Now's a good time to do it. So there's my sleeping situation. There's a bunch of GoPros and cameras. Trying to thaw out a couple Gatorades. Those are the battery setup I'm running. I'm just running some battery boxes for this trip. Diesel heater. I got a generator to charge batteries. Live scope. Hanging up my Eskimos to thaw out. Dripping on the floor. Extra chair. Cookies in the oven. Let's check it out. Wow, that cooled off quick. Oh, yes. Look at those. Oh, my gosh. Wow, guys. Look at that cookie. Holy cow, that thing's going to be awesome. How many of them do you think you could drive into you? I bet you could. So, outside temp right now is 11. Inside is 63. So let's check out the outside. So I'm going to show you guys the tent. So this is the vestibule. So instead of just the open regular door, this is an add-on where you can throw like your diesel can, your covers, drills, everything else. And it's kind of like a mudroom. So I'm going to close this. So this is your regular tent right here. And then the add-on for the base camp. I close that so I don't lose any heat. And if the wind's blowing, it's not blowing in. Then we're going to go outdoors. There we go. So there's the vestibule. And this is the base camp right here. Look at that. That's the 980 base camp from Jiffy. And that's got the this is an extra, this comes with it. But that top goes on. It's for sleet and rain. And I think it holds in just a lot more heat. And that actually covers the vestibule too, the connection on the vestibule. And then that's my exhaust from my diesel heater. I'm just running it under right now. This is the sled shed. So I haven't put that on yet, but that goes on the back of this Jiffy 980 right there. And then you could tuck like your sled under it or your diesel can or something like that. But single digits, 11 degrees. It's going to be single pretty soon. But there's the old snowmobile. And by old, I mean like a couple months old. Let's see. You guys want to hear that thing start? See how many miles are on it? You always use that with extreme caution. Oh, wait. Shoot, we don't want to do that because it's going to hook up to my phone and we'll lose it. All right, I don't think we're hooked up on the phone. But yeah, there's my new cutting board. That's a link attachment. I got that from my dealer at Chase so I can cut up fish on it. Got a couple rods here in the Brandon box. I got lights rigged on the Brandon box this year. All I got to do is throw a Milwaukee battery right into that box and click one of them toggle switches. And then when I sleep out here in this, then I'll have a light on the inside too. But there's a live scope down there. Oh, what's that? That's a new Jiffy auger too. You guys haven't seen that yet. But there's a new Jiffy auger right there. That thing is a 60 volt. That's an absolute beast. And then here, I'm going to back up so you can really see the tent, the setup. So that's it. Look at the size of that. Just for one guy, huh? It's like a mansion. So I would say you could sleep without bunk beds. You could definitely get 4 people in there pretty comfortable without stacking them. And then the vestibule just makes it look huge. So the vestibule is this part right here. So we're going to go back in. Let's go back in. So I call this the mudroom. If you live in Maine, this would be, instead of a vestibule, this would be considered a mudroom on the base camp 980. There you have it. Oh, it smells like cookies in here. It smells good in here. So yeah, so there you go, guys. That's the setup for tonight. I'm on my second night on this trip. Second night ever with the Jiffy. So far, super impressed by it. Really impressed after setting it up and going through the whole thing. But I'm gonna skip ahead to some more questions. My second act says you need more women fishing and trapping with you. You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. Lake Winnipeg, thank you for tuning in. Salmon, Idaho, watching in. Garrett Spearing, thank you for tuning in. What bait for panfish jigs if you use any? Yeah, waxworms. Waxworms are awesome. Try waxworms if you're gonna use any bait at all, or really small shiners. How warm can these ice tents get while not melting the ice under it? So I got 2 layers underneath mine right now. I bring a wood floor with me. Um, when I ice camp, I always go for minimum 5 to 10 days, and it's just way more comfortable, way more sturdy, and way warmer to bring a wood floor. And then I put the foam on top of this wood floor, like the interlocking Lego foam pieces that Eskimo makes. And it's really made a difference and made it warmer and more comfortable. So it can get really warm. You just got to watch out on slush lakes. Like this lake I'm on is a slush lake, so I'm not going to fish from my tent. I generally don't fish from the tent that I'm sleeping in, just because I've had some really bad experiences in Maine when you get a lot of snow on these lakes, and it pushes the ice down and the water comes up on top of the ice and just slushes out. I woke up to 4 inches of slush and water in the bottom of my tent before. It's ruins a camping trip, ruins it. So, have you ever fished Bear Pond in Waterford? I have not. Joe, do a poverty box shirt. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one, actually. How long should I make my skis for the old Smitty? Probably, it all depends how you're going to transport it. So I'd make them as long as you possibly can for what they fit into either your truck or your trailer. We have activity trapping shirt. I think we need to do one of those. Bear Pond, I've not. Jason said it was slow on East Musquash yesterday. See it goes on Medibemps. These are just awesome names to lakes in Maine. What about a seal coat? Those are beautiful. Yeah, we're not allowed to trap or shoot seals in Maine. I think a decent amount of seals get shot by the lobstermen, but you're not allowed to keep them or skin them or anything like that. But I'm sure it would be wonderful. Lake of the Woods tomorrow for a sack Pippa man. I know it's a different channel, but a no hit would be a good t-shirt. Yeah, it would be. I'd probably have to pay like a small royalty to Joe Osgood for that no hit shirt. I think, what am I paying him? I think I only pay him 15 cents for every time we use no hit, but he's got to pay me 50 cents for every time he uses we have activity. So it's been working out pretty good, but yeah. A Trapper Cabin t-shirt would be awesome. Portland. Steph Markovich, have you ever wanted to wear a fur coat like the first trappers on those super cold nights in the trap line? Yes. I would love to wear a fur coat. Yes. I'm thinking maybe a Fisher one. I haven't decided yet. Zach's watching from Holton. Thank you, Paquin Maple. I love the Jiffy. Need activity. Joe, could you have people park on the ice if you did a meet and greet? Man, I don't think so. If anything ever went wrong and people fell through and died or lost a car and I had them parking on the ice, that'd be really bad. Yep. So I'm going to try to get through some of these questions real quick, guys. He's a small business owner and has a monetized channel, sells pelts. Have you watched his channel? Oh, man. No, let's be nice here, guys. Let's be nice. Where are you fishing? I'm fishing in Western Maine right now. Paul says you need a trapping shirt that shows you walking up to a martin trap, saying we have activity with a fisher tail hanging out. I like that. Yep. Best place to get big golden shiners in Maine, probably jack traps. Maybe Sebago bait. Do you agree with the kill derbies on overpopulated lakes, more or less conservation derby? Yeah, I guess I haven't thought enough about that. A big question is you got to back it up first before you go down, open that can of worms and say, well, why do we have an overpopulation problem in Moosehead or Sebago? Like the state stocked 680,000 lake trout in Sebago. They stocked 680,000 lake trout in Sebago, and then they decided that we are overpopulated on lake trout once everybody started enjoying catching them, and and asked people to start killing them, and then they're running all these derbies, and it's just a really bad look for sportsmen to leave piles and piles of fish on the ice and just waste such a good thing, and you had people coming from all over the Northeast to fish Sebago because you can catch 100 fish on a jig rod, 3-pound lake trout. But so no, I guess not. I'm not a fan of those kill derbies at all. You said a lot of we're thinking the big monster pike need to be released so they can eat a lot of the small ones. Keith, you're so right. You're so right. It's amazing that we can come to these conclusions without having a degree, a biology degree, or a master's degree. It's I just wish the state would listen to hunters and trappers and fishermen a little bit more, and what the people actually want in Maine. Yeah, it's always funny to get into that stuff. John's gonna order some shirts for me sewing. Appreciate that, John. Thank you. Got to get Joe on Hinkley Pond. Was a SOPO full firefighter. I'm near the old B&M Baked Beans. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Hang with CJ. I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try to hang with CJ. He's a tough guy to hang with. You guys, if you follow CJ on his Instagram, I don't know if he posted it yet because I'm on this, so I haven't seen, but he caught a very large crappie tonight, and I'm excited to see if the picture even does it justice because it was a very big one. He got pretty excited, and he's a tough guy to hang with because he can catch him. Have you ever fished Prong Pond outside of Greenville? I have not fished that one yet. I have heard a decent amount about it. Do they ice fish Hinkley? I do not know. Must have taken a week to set up. So no, this setup being the first time I even opened this tent, this brand new tent, CJ helped me, and he shoveled off. I put the floor down. I bet you we had everything done, and like the base camp set up, table, bed, everything else, like in less than an hour. Maybe 40 minutes or so we set up this camp. And then it took me like an hour that first night to like unpack everything and get this food where I wanted it, the frozen food where I wanted it, the stuff that can freeze or doesn't need to freeze where I wanted it, batteries. So that probably took an hour. Time to perk some coffee for the cookies. I'm actually drinking some hot, well, it used to be hot. I need to heat that up. Apple cider. Let's get some. We're going to heat some water up and get that for the cookies. Billy said the best content on YouTube. Man, I appreciate that. I don't know if I deserve that, but I really do appreciate it. South Pond's kids only. Steve. The cookies look great, but not as great as Donnie's Donuts. Of course not. Richard Rand, of course not. Nothing's as good as Donnie's Donuts. So Stevie's mom, Stevie's been on the channel a lot, is probably the best cook I've ever met. I think she's probably the best cook. One of the best cooks, let me say it that way. Other than my mother, she's one of the best cooks I've ever met. And she made donuts too. And her grandkids ate Donnie's Donuts one day. And they made the mistake of saying, these are even better than Grandma's donuts. So, man, didn't we laugh? And Donnie got such a kick out of that. You could just hear Donnie belly laughing when he heard that and knew that those kids were going to be in trouble when they said that in front of their grandmother or on TV in front of their grandmother. And yeah, it's just, they're both tremendous cooks. And yeah. Huge tent, sure is. It's an awesome shack. All right, I'm going to try to get caught up on some. What diesel heater do you use? DW said. So this one, I'm running two. Well, I brought two. I'm only running one. The one I've been running and trying out is the H-Calorie Toolbox Max. It's an 8,000 kilowatt. Holds 7 liters of diesel. Does really well. It burns like a third of a tank in like a 12-hour night. and uses like 15 amp hours of battery a night on like medium. So all right, Joe, if you care to, go into your settings on your Starlink and shut off your AI tracking so that your content isn't training AI against your will. Thank you for that. I did that on my phone already. I don't know if I've done that on my Starlink, but I would love to do that. Kyle, love this channel. Meat was the highlight of the winter. Man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm really thankful for all the nice comments and all the positivity shared on this channel. And I really enjoy the positivity like towards my friends that are on the channel and to the other viewers, like to other guys that make good comments or that leave positive comments. Then somebody else leaves another positive comment. Like, to me, that's what it's all about. Like, I get some hate on this channel, and I've blocked a lot of people on the channel. It's bizarre, like, that there's people that could hate someone that they've never ever met and never. Yeah, it's really bizarre to me that could happen. And there was an incident this week where it just baffled me that someone could hate me that much and never have met me and have so much terrible stuff to say about me and be wrong on so many accounts. And you know what I did? I just went and blocked the guy, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to give it. Why would I give this guy 10 seconds of my time if there's 1,000 people leaving positive comments and 1,000 people being positive and being inspired and doing really cool things from this channel? Why would I give an idiot that's being negative any time and not give that time to other people? So I just completely just got him out of my mind and blocked him and moved on. So, you know, if you guys face that type of stuff, you know, if I'm wrong, you know, I'll admit it. Or if something's brought to my attention, that's another thing. But man, you wouldn't even believe. You would not. Oh man, I just got a message from Donnie. Donnie's watching. Donnie's watching right now. So if you guys want to leave a question, well, he won't be able to answer questions. But if you guys want to leave a comment for Donnie, leave a comment for Donnie right now, and there's a pretty good chance he might see it, or I'll read it to him. I'm gonna skip all the way down to the bottom, but Donnie's watching, guys. Donnie's watching. Ah, there it is, Donnie. They're all tuning in. Hello, Donnie. ND Mike, you are correct, my friend. Thank you. Oh man, Donnie, you're lighting up the chat right now. Everybody's asking about you. Everybody's saying hello. That's great, Donnie. Oh man, I'm so pumped. Donnie, I can tell you from all the people I've run into this winter, you are the number one question. How's Donnie? Where's Donnie? When's Donnie coming back? So everybody here misses you terribly, and they're all really excited to see you back. No one as much as me, of course, but yeah, Donnie's on a t-shirt. Yep. Billy got his Donnie's Donut shirt. Nice. MAB said you hosted a couple of my buddies and their kids this fall when you offered them a place to stay. Oh, that was awesome, man. I was so fortunate enough to be in that position to give those guys a place to stay. And I won out of that deal. Those guys, that was such a pleasure for me. Everybody, we love Donnie. There's Brett or Drexel. Donnie. Ashton says we got activity t-shirt with a Fisher. Absolutely. We love Donnie. Heck of a character. Yes. All right, Donnie. Man, you hear it. You hear it, Donnie. Everybody's really excited to see you back. So we're looking forward to it too. Yep. So happy hiker enjoys the channel and the content. Keep it up. Paul loves the Donnie Donut t-shirt. Always like to see Donnie on the videos. What did Donnie do? Donnie's a retired carpenter, but he's done just about everything that you could think of. He's done. He's got an engineering degree, and he was just one of the best carpenters in a town full of great carpenters. I grew up around a lot of great carpenters. So I don't know Donnie, but I think I must now. That's awesome. These comments are just great. Man, I'm so glad Donnie's watching, and I'm so glad you guys are able to to say hello to Donnie, and hopefully he gets a chance to read all the comments. Yeah, Richard Rand, I know that. I'm incredibly blessed with the people around me. I'm super lucky. Brandon, Brandon's a jack of all trades. He's actually a carpenter as well. Sure, yeah. Or Benning went ice fishing for the first time 3 weeks ago. Thanks for the inspiration. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. I hope you enjoyed it and had a fun time. DK Knight, always remember hate is jealousy in disguise. Yeah, I hear you, man. I just when I see like that type of hate come in from someone that I've never met, I just really feel bad for that person that they take time out of their day to hate me and and hate what I'm about. I just wonder, like, man, how bad is that guy's life that he has to take a shot at me, who I've never even met before. Heck of a worker Brandon is, that's for sure. Anthony's building a Brandon box. That's nice. Do you ever think of making a cooking video in the tent or camp? I pretty much do a lot of cooking. Yeah, I caught up. Brett or Drexel. I do a lot of cooking on the videos, and some people like it, some people don't. But I just show them the whole aspect. I'm gonna try one of these cookies, guys. I know it's probably rude to eat in front of people, but you guys were with me when I cooked these. Oh man, I don't know. Do you guys? It's not. I might have left them in a little too long. They're not burnt. They're not. They're not crispy, but they are not gooey and soft. They're pretty good. They're a little dry. Yeah, a little dry, but you know what? They still taste pretty good. It's got chunks of Oreo in the dough. Definitely overcooked them. Brett tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Oh yeah, Kevin Ray said those smudge fire cook videos. I want to do one this trip. I want to do a smudge fire cook video. Yeah. Hard to beat cookies ice camping, I agree. I don't have any milk. Ashton, I've said it twice already, but I can't have people park on the ice. If something happened or a car went through or a bunch of cars went through or somebody got hurt and I set it up, that would be really bad for me. So part of the meet and greet is I don't want anybody to get hurt. Sean's buying some shirts and he's good to hear from Donnie. That's awesome. I'm real excited to see the first person out on the street wearing a Donnie Donut t-shirt. I think that's going to be the coolest thing. CJ's going to get cookies by morning. He might. He might. Joe, do you listen to any podcasts? I don't listen to enough podcasts. I need to start listening to some more. My buddy Brett from Florida turned me on to a really cool one about the Civil War, and it was super long and in-depth, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But if you guys have any podcasts that you like a lot and that you think would enrich my life and be a positive influence, let me know. I've watched some of the Rogan ones, obviously, like who hasn't. I like there's a couple in Maine, the father and son. They have an excellent one up in northern Maine, and I try to listen to those most of the time when I'm riding or something like that. But would you ever consider building a hard shack? Yeah, I'm considering it, but it's going to be wicked different than anything you could even imagine right now. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because I don't want anybody stealing my idea, to be honest with you, and I want to bring it to you guys first. So yes, I'm going to build a type of hard shack in the future. Fantastic, checking in. When's Donnie going to finish those cabinets for the camp? I don't think you said it that way. You were probably just asking, but I like to say it that way in case Donnie was watching. So Donnie, in case you're watching, somebody just said, Donnie, when are you going to finish those cabinets for the camp? I can do that because, oh, Donnie just tuned in. He's been making homemade bread and he's perfecting the recipe to do when we're home at camp or camping. So that's going to be on the menu in the future. I'm excited to learn that from Donnie. I'm really excited. But Donnie's planning on working on the cabinets as soon as he can. He had a major setback this last year, so he wasn't able to work on them. But they worked pretty good. I mean, I hate to admit it because I really know Donnie's talent level and what his cabinets could bring to the camp. But those shelves we had worked pretty good. They didn't fall over. Yep. So, could you tell us a good quote of the day? Jeez. I gotta, like, my mind's going in a different direction right now, so I'd have to stop and think for a minute. And I don't know if I could do that right now, to be honest with you. There's a couple quotes that come to mind. One of them was from Teddy Roosevelt. And you're better off looking these up than for me to butcher the King's English, as my grandmother would say. But it's basically along these lines. I'm going to paraphrase it for you because I won't be able to remember word for word. But it's far better is it to take on challenges and mighty deeds than it is to live with those weak souls who don't take on any challenge in life or go through any hardships in life. So, you know, even if it does have failures and setbacks, you're better off in the end taking on challenges and following your dreams. So there's a Teddy Roosevelt one. He obviously said it much better than I did, but that's one of my favorite quotes. And then there's another one by Abraham Lincoln. That's one of my favorite quotes. And I can share those more with you guys in depth later on. But Donnie, such a cool guy to be with. Reminds me of my uncle who's 85. Yeah, he's the best. Ashton, do you agree with killed derbies on overpopulated lakes? No, Ashton, I don't. Yeah, I've been answering those questions, Ashton. So no, I really don't. I don't really agree with any of the derbies. I don't think we should sell off the best fish that we have in a fishery or in the state of Maine for a pack basket. I just don't see it. You know, like a kids derby on a put and take stocked lake. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, but like these pike derbies and togue derbies and stuff, I just don't see it. But I don't run the state, and I'm not a biologist, so I'm just giving you my opinion as a fisherman. Whoa, there's my boy Alex dropping a super chat. Alex Tim, thank you, my friend. Appreciate all your content. I'm back on YouTube, one of the best in the biz. Man, you are the best, Alex. Thank you. If you guys don't know Alex is in Minnesota, and I think he has the best gear reviews for ice fishing of anybody on the planet. Anybody on YouTube. So if you guys are looking for gear reviews on anything fishing really, but especially ice fishing, tune into Alex's channel. He probably made the single greatest catch on my channel's history ice fishing. He caught like a 27-pound muskie on like 2-pound test, and it was foul hooked, and he still managed to get it through the ice. Like, it took like, I think, an hour and a half to catch that fish. So there is a video of that. You got to go back a couple of years for that trip I took into Minnesota and fished. And we just had a wonderful time. And we were fishing with Cody, with Chill. Cody Hill Guide Service was his buddy. And Cody and I were just whacking fish one right after another. And Alex had a brand new reel that he hadn't used yet. And he didn't realize that the drag was set to like 0. And he missed like the first 20 fish. And we were both up like 20 fish to his none. And Cody and I figured it out. We kind of looked at each other and we're like, shh, don't tell him. Because he kept setting the hook. and the drag just kept peeling. So, but you couldn't hear it either. So he didn't know. He just didn't know. And finally, he figured it out, and we all had just an awesome laugh. And that's the cool thing about meeting new people and the first time ever fishing together. You could have really fun laughs and stuff and make memories like that. That's the cool thing about guys that can get together and hang out and do something cool like that. And we had a wicked good laugh, and Alex had a good laugh, and then he went from not catching any fish to catching the biggest fish and the most memorable fish of the trip. So you knew that was going to happen. You just knew that was going to happen the whole trip. So if you get a chance, go back and check that out when we were all fishing together. And you can type it into like the chat on my channel in the videos. And if you guys aren't subscribed to Alex Tim's channel and you're into ice fishing, you really need to give him a check. Because I don't think he's sponsored by like anyone. I don't think he takes anything for free, or if he does, he'll let you know, like, hey, I got this for free to try out or something like that. So, there's no bull, and he really tests stuff out. And, he's even put boats on top of rock piles to test them out. That's how thorough he is to make sure that you're getting a good test on your equipment. So Alex is just a great guy. Alex, thank you for sending that super chat through on the channel. So yeah. Fantastic. Got sent here through the algorithm. Thank you. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. MAB says, my 11-year-old boy caught a 23.5-inch brookie. Oh, I got to go back to that comment. This past summer on a piece of water up near Moosehead. Love fishing, but now he's absolutely hooked. It's amazing, isn't it? When you get that one giant or one big fish can change your life, and that hopefully set him on a different path, or on a great path. Sorry, not a different path. Ezra Smith, hey Joe, I live in Jefferson. Where's a good place to catch brown trout on Damariscotta Lake? Man, if you just want to catch browns, go out in front of the state launch. Like midway to the center and set halfway down with shiners. Use like 8 to 10 pound test at the most. If you feel like you get away with 6 pound test, do it. If you want to catch giant browns, you pretty much got to fish Great Bay, like up on the north end. But it's a lot of guys who spend a lot of time there will call it the Dead Sea, because it takes a lot of hours to catch a big brown up there. But it's probably worth it. Brown trout, they don't feed as often in the day as a lot of other trout, so they're a little bit harder to catch. But anywhere on that eastern shore, the northeastern shore in Great Bay is good for big trout. Anywhere in front of the state launch is really good for brown trout too. And if you go back and watch like my meet and greet and ice fishing seminar, you'll see a young lady caught at least one, maybe 2 really big browns that day right there in front of the state launch. Mike Ducey, that was a cool week, St. Paul Ice Show, and then that muskie was it. You're right, Mike. I remember that, buddy. Deplorable says, just started watching November. Great content. How do you not have 450,000 subs? That's a great question. For like every once in a while, I think like, why don't I have more subs, or how do I get more subs? And then I just back it up and I think, that's not why I have this channel. That's not what I'm after. I really don't care if I have 50,000 subs or 500,000 subs or 1,000 subs. If I honestly can just inspire people and just show them that you can get outdoors and enjoy the outdoors, and there's just been so many people in my life that have helped me with the outdoors and taught me about hunting or trapping or fishing or shed hunting or just so many different things in life that have helped me along the way, that if I could give back and help others, even if it is through YouTube, not in person, which you can't, you can reach a lot more people, then if I could just help a handful of people, then that's why I have the channel. And I've always said, like, there's 3 things that I can try to do to make a great video. If I can hit 2 out of the 3 things, then I'll publish the video. and I feel like it's been a good video. If I can hit 3 out of those 3 things, then I think it's got a chance to be a really good video. And it's kind of what I strive for when I shoot videos. And it's in this order. You know, these are the 3 things. 1 is to inspire, 2 is to educate, and then 3 is to entertain. You know, like there's so many videos now that's just about entertaining, and maybe that's how you get 1 million subs, is you just focus on the entertaining part. You do goofball things and you do all the clickbait and all that stuff. But to me, it's just like, if you could inspire someone and help them in any way, then I think you're doing the right thing. And then, like, if you can educate and help people, like, learn how to trap or learn how to ice fish or learn what gear is good and what gear isn't, or maybe the proper way to hunt or fish or trap or use some ethics in those pursuits, you know, as I learn, you know, with you guys, then that really that's a big part of the channel. And then the entertainment part, I mean, that's just going to come naturally, you know. And if I make a video and it's just entertainment, sometimes I don't post them. I just throw them out. So those are the 3 things I shoot for what I feel is a good video on YouTube, and those are the things that I kind of strive for on those, and it's in that order as well. And I don't always do it. I don't always hit them, you know, and but I try to, you know. So those are the things. So and a lot of the things like that I do doesn't reach like a broad, huge audience. You know, like trapping's kind of like, it's kind of a niche thing. Ice fishing from a guy that lives in the Northeast, there's not a big audience. Minnesota and Wisconsin's a different story. You know, like the guys that have channels there, and the other guys in Western Canada that are just producing amazing ice fishing content. You know, like the top 3 or 4 ice fishing channels. You know, those are in northwestern Canada usually, and then Minnesota, Wisconsin area. So those, you know, those guys have a chance at a lot of subs. I don't think I get in front of enough people, and I don't know. Maybe I don't do enough foolish stuff. But that's a great question. I do think about it sometimes. Sometimes I think to myself, hey, you got to grow this channel. You got to change your channel a little bit and grow it. And then I'm like, what's the point? You know, why bother? You know, like, stick to what you're doing. It's working. I don't mind slow growth at all. You know, like my buddies and a lot of these viewers that have been with me since day one have gotten to see the channel. You know, like, we've just been on a really good path growing, and that's all I can tell you. You know, like, there's going to be channels that get a lot more views than mine, and there's going to be channels that have a lot more subs, but I'm super happy with the ones I have. And then meeting people face to face and hearing, you know, like, hey, this video helped me, or this video, you know, inspired me, or this video was really cool, or this video made me laugh, or seeing these guys on your channel really meant a lot to me. Like that means more to me than having like 100,000 subs or 1 million subs or whatever. So I hope that answers your question a little bit, but yeah, that's oh yeah. So Mitt USA 64 says, have you talked to Donnie about doing restaurant reviews? That would be great. I have not had the chance to talk to him yet, but I think he and I might have talked a little bit about this a couple years ago when we were measuring that state record tree. Is a lot of the viewers, Donnie, if you're still watching, I don't know if you're still watching, but a lot of the viewers want us to do a like diner and restaurant travel video review in Maine or New England, and go to like diners and restaurants and food stands and maybe ice cream shops and do reviews on them, and you know, and then do like a little history of the town or whatever we can, meet some of the town folk and shoot a video on it, you know, like mostly with you. And I just think it'd be amazing to do when he gets home, if we can add that to the repertoire. I was going to try to do it with like measuring the state record trees and finding the state record trees, and then while we're in those towns, actually do that same type of thing. So yeah, so that's something that a lot of people have asked about, Donnie, and I'm sure you would be for it. Hunt Fish Traps says, any plans to keep posting vids through the summer? I more than likely will be able to do a lot of videos this summer. Last year I really got into striper fishing. The videos don't do too well for striped bass, but I like sharing them with people and helping people with striper, because that's like kind of a mysterious fish to a lot of people. So it's a pretty good chance there'll be some videos this summer. Yep, Richard said his first experience was 60 years ago catching brookies in Rangeley. Anthony's like the ice camping videos, thank you. Ashton sent 9 squirrel tails to Meps and got 61 cents. Used to be able to get a quarter for those, bud, back in my day. Do you have any luck with beaver snares? I'm going to put some out soon. I don't think we did too well on the beaver snares. We only put 2 out, and we didn't really do great on them. Kyle Cobb, thank you for that. I really appreciate that, Kyle. Catching any? Wanted to stop by and thank you for the content and insight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ashton says your trapping episodes deserve more views. I've seen all of them. Enjoyed everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ashton. MAB's comment is just great. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. MJP, they got a bucket of Chiners, Ming? Big YouTube channel, 2x4 side by each. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. ND Mike says, all the Facebook ice fishing groups I'm on are starting to talk about your videos, especially the ice camping pages. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if I was one of the first to post ice fishing, winter camping, like videos. Obviously, people have done it for hundreds of years, but maybe not on YouTube, and definitely not like hardcore. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's part of it, but I appreciate that. That's cool to hear. Videos through the summer, yep. Quality over quantity, frontline canine. Thank you, appreciate that. No, yeah, deplorable says, I just meant I feel sorry for those 450,000. Keep getting her done. Yeah, no, I wasn't, you're right. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a super compliment. Thank you. Glad the channel's growing. I know and enjoy it. Thank you. I appreciate that. The channel has grown a lot. Donut shop reviews. Yeah, we won't turn that down. We definitely do that. Did I miss a Dudley video from up to camp? Not that I know of, but there should be one in the future. Dudley bringing Joe a cup of yellow snow. Paul Ty says your videos are great. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Jay Taylor, big fan from Nova Scotia. Been watching for years. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Frontline loves the idea of the state record trees. I've done some of that here in New Hampshire. Yeah, it's just fun for us. Like, Donnie and I we're really into trees and the woods and a lot of the history of trees. So it kind of goes naturally, and we're just amazed by big trees or record trees. Put a live cam out the ice cream shop. Robert Drew says, the first time I seen your channel, you were camping in 40 below zero, and I was hooked. Yeah, that's the truth, man. That was a wild trip. I think it got like 45 below zero, and I ran a buddy heater, I think, on low, if I remember right, the whole night, and I was dang near hallucinating. That was as cold as I've ever. Need some more Joey Shank videos, the Real Canuck says. Did you watch those? Did you really watch those? The Real Canuck? Yeah, so I got another YouTube channel that I ran for a little while just to see if I could get it monetized and pay for my golf. I was getting into golf a little bit because my older brother's a really good golfer, and I don't let my brother beat me in anything. And and I like to be competitive. So and one of my best friends is a golfer too. So just to enjoy more time with him. So I started a YouTube channel, and it was getting close to being monetized, and then I just kind of stopped golfing and took up striper fishing, I guess. But it's called Joey Shanks. If you guys are interested in a golf, if you want to see a golf series by me. Michael James loves the videos. Diehard fisherman from Acton, Maine. Do a trip to Pulaski for king salmon on the river. I think I'd like to do that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Real Canuck, you were the first crazy enough to know 30 with no heat. Thank you. Ashton wants to do a collab someday. Yeah, Donnie might be a harsh critic of the donut shops. You know, I don't think Donnie's ever been a harsh critic of anything, to be honest with you. And I think he'd be happy just to have a donut in his hand. But yeah, if he compared it to his, there's no comparison, in my opinion. You're the craziest to sleep in a sled in the middle of the winter. That's true. So yeah, I think I might do. I don't know if I'm gonna do it this trip. I might do a night in the sled again. We're down to 8 degrees right now, and it's 57 in here. There's that. It's 8 degrees out right now. One of these nights, I think I might actually go. I might go travel to another lake and just be far enough away where I just sleep in the sled again and wake up and fish there in the morning. You guys think that'd be a good video? MALW's the biggest fan in the entire world. Whoa, thank you. I really appreciate that. E. Rich is fishing Lake Simcoe tomorrow. Good luck, man. They're catching some nice fish out there. What a great lake that is for you guys. Terry's enjoying the ice fishing. Thank you so much. The one in the windstorm was pretty awesome. If that's the one where I had Danielle with me, that was the craziest night I think I've ever had ice camping or winter camping. We had a micro burst tornado come through, and we literally had to hold the tent down and couldn't even talk. It was so loud. The wind was so loud. It was crazy. It was like 2 in the morning, and it was a micro burst. Kiki, MCD, my boyfriend's your biggest fan. We watch all your videos. Can you shout out Brandon Smith and Jim Smith? There you go, guys. Shout out to you. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate all the support. And as Tom Miranda would say, thanks for following me. I like Tom Miranda. He's such a consummate professional. But I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And a big shout out to Brandon and Jim Smith. Portra, Jared's watching from the Otter right now. Camping out. Nice. Otter Lodge, not the Otter Sled. Yep. Oh, you did watch Canuck. The real Canuck did watch Joey Shanks. Cool, thanks. Anthony Chase loves golf. Joey Shanks is my spirit animal. Sean got some shirts purchased. Thank you very much. And a jacktrap one. That's awesome. Is Dudley going to ever do the Demolition Derby at the Windsor Fair again? I think he is next year. I think he was on a tournament list last year, so he wasn't able to. Michael Bruyette is fishing Burnt Meadows Sunday. I don't think I'm going to be out there Sunday. The golfing trapper is quite a plot twist. Yeah. There's a lot to my past and to my present that surprise a lot of people. Yeah. I'm going to just say it that way. Yeah. A lot of people wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Tearing the perch up on Lake St. Clair in Detroit. That's pretty awesome. Shout out Brandon Smith. Got that one. Oh, Droop's still there watching. Thank you, my friend. Great Lakes wants to talk about cast iron skillet cooking for sure. Yep, I can get into that. The real Canuck actually hooked me up with the best cast iron that I have right now is the GSW cast iron, and I keep it at camp. Like it's like the most important place to me is to have that there, and it doesn't travel with me because I don't ever want to lose it. I don't want to forget it. I don't want anything to happen to it. So he hooked us up, Donnie and I, with some really great Canadian cast iron, and that's what we use in camp, like on the wood stove and everything like that. The real Canuck wants to know if Donnie's got the upper cabinets ready yet. If you're going to eat a can of those beans, that shelf will fall down. Yeah, it was getting pretty close. We had a lot of fun with that. I still remember Donnie laughing when he saw how much that thing was leaning. And then we propped it up with some other cans. Good night, Munchie's girlfriend's taking him ice fishing for Valentine's Day. Red tail squirrels go for 12 cents, grays for 25. All right. Used to get a quarter on them. Tater says, any bites on your documentary? I could see it being on the Discovery Channel or something. I don't think there were any like bites on it, so to say, but someone did reach out to me from the Discovery Channel to do like a show on like off-grid living for families, and I was like, well, I don't really have a family of, I have family like in one way, but I don't have a wife and kids and stuff like that. So I said I might not be the best subject for your show. So there was one that reached out for me for that, and there was someone else who reached out for like a reality show, but I don't really see that helping my life any, to be honest with you. I mean, it'd probably grow the channel times 10 if I did a Discovery Channel, something like that. I've seen the guys who've had Discovery Channels, but I don't need to be famous or anything like that. I don't think it'd help my life much. So I gratefully declined and gracefully declined as well. So those were the bites on that. Great Lakes fanatic, how to prep a skillet for sure. So I'll just give you a quick so this skillet right here, that's this one's by Lodge. Now Lodge is like, you can get it at Walmart, let's just put it that way. It's kind of like your lower end cast iron, price wise. Quality wise, it's actually not bad. The only complaint I would have with it, is obviously it's not going to be like your Griswolds or your GSWs or your, like the old stuff from 100 years ago. But the reason that the price is lower on it is they use like a sand casting finish on it. So you don't get a great finish on it. So like this side, like I guess your griddle or whatever you call it, like you could hear like how rough it is. Like that would actually take my fingernail off if I kept doing that and that, because it's got like a sand finish. So this side, which is like your money side, that's where you cook on. Like that's what I use a lot. So that side, I took the orbital sander to that for about a solid hour, and I started with like 40 grit, and then did 60 grit, and then did 80 grit, and then I might have cheated and jumped to like 220 grit, and then I went to like, I think I finished with like 320 grit, and you could go a little bit higher and spend more time on it. You could actually make this mirror polished finish. I just didn't want to take it that far because I didn't have the time or the sand and pads to take it any further. But I did take it down to like a much rawer steel. And look, you can't hear anything, and you can't wear your fingernails down on this side right here because that's nice and smooth. So that's going to really help it be more non-stick, and it's also not going to allow any food particles to stay in there and dirty it up and grow bacteria, or rust develop in those cavities either. So I sanded that down, and I took it down to like a very smooth bare metal. And once again, this is the Lodge like griddle top that you can get at the Walmart or on the Amazon or whatever. It's pretty heavy. It's heavy duty, and it's really not bad cast steel. Like, I know it gets a bad name because it's new and it doesn't cost as much, but other than the rough finish, it's really not bad cast iron. So then after you do that, you wanna clean it off, wipe it down, get all like the little bits of metal out of it, and then give it an oil finish, like an oil sheen over it, and then wipe off every bit of oil that you possibly can. Like, get it like dry of oil, and then put it in the oven at like 500 degrees upside down. So the side you oiled upside down at 500 degrees, or you can, I guess you can go a little bit less. And if you can go for an hour, that's going to season that pan, and you're good to go after that. If you leave too much oil on there, you're going to get like a little bit of blotching, like I did right there. Like, I use peanut oil, is not your best oil for that. Like they say, like avocado oil, I think is the best. But you'll see like a little bit of, of blotching where that oil like baked on. That doesn't ruin the pan or anything like that, but it's not like the best finish ever. But that's a pretty good finish there, and I've cooked on that for several weeks since. So I hope that helps you guys with your cast iron. This is just a cast iron pan. This is another Lodge, as you could see, like a 7-pounder. Or, yeah, that's the Lodge 7 right there, and it's not a bad pan. I bring these cooking just because, like, man, I'm like 25 below zero, and if anything ever happened to one of my like really awesome ones, I would feel it. I would feel it. Whereas, like, if something happens to one of my Lodge ones, they can be replaced pretty easy. So, huge thank you to the Real Canuck for hooking us up with that GSW cast iron that he did. Those are some of our absolute favorite pans that we use every single day at the Northwoods cabin on the trap line, and anytime we're up north. And then, like this pan, I didn't take that down anymore yet. But and then the best way I've ever found to clean your cast iron, you don't want to clean it with Dawn or any of the detergents or soaps like that, if you can help it. So you also don't want to let water sit in it. One of the best ways is to use like a heavy, coarse grained salt, like a kosher salt or like a sea salt. And you just put a bunch of that in and get a paper towel, and you just wipe it all around, and you will be shocked at how well that cleans it. It's basically like taking a heavy grit sandpaper to it, and it will clean your cast iron pans. And you just do that until the salt doesn't suck up any of the gunk or food or any debris or anything else. Dump that out, and then just give it a little wipe with an oil rag, with like olive oil or whatever oil you like to cook with. Don't leave it like caked on there, but just a real thin coat so it doesn't start to rust or anything. And that pan's good for life, and it's a really good way to clean a pan is just with like a heavy coarse salt. So hopefully that helps you guys out with the cast iron stuff, and I could get into that a little bit more in the future. And there's friends of mine that know a lot more about it than I do. I'll just share with you what I've learned from them. Andy Mike wants to know what position you played in baseball. Did you play football too? I did not play football. I played basketball, hockey, soccer, and baseball. And I took up golf after college. You know, I took it up way later in life because my brother got really good at it. He got to be like a scratch golfer, and I just don't like him beating me in anything, so that's why I took up golf. But I was a catcher when I played baseball. And I ended up playing Division III baseball right here in Maine, and I was fortunate enough to be on the best winningest team in the country, all divisions, my senior year. And I was one of the captains on the team with Stevie, who you see in the videos. Stevie later went on to sign with the New York Yankees and got to play in their system. But we played 40 games. That's the schedule for a college baseball team, and we won 36. 36 or 38. I think we won 36 out of the 40 games. Yeah, it was 36. And we were the winningest team in the entire country that year, which was a really cool feeling. And a decent amount of those games we won in like comeback fashion. So it was just an amazing time in life, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I did not waste a second of it. I enjoyed every second of it. So, Hunt Fish Trap, do you have any history lobster fishing out there or any offshore fishing? No, I used to help very, very, very occasionally and randomly help a friend of mine who had a lobster boat. Like, I think it was his sternman would get like a sore back when it was really rough seas in the winter, and he just refused to go out when they weren't catching a lot and it was rough seas. So my buddy would call me because he had to get those traps pulled and checked, you know, because they were on like a long sit. So they needed all the bait, they needed blah blah blah. It was just miserable, miserable. And I get seasick if I can't keep my head up and if I'm way offshore like that. So I would just get sick and not be miserable, but I'd get sick and then just fight through it and work like a 14-hour day just to help my buddy. I don't even know if I ever even got paid, to be honest with you. But that's my history for that. And I didn't do any ground fishing or anything like that. We did go shrimping back when Maine still had a shrimping season. And I got to do that a few times, and I really enjoyed that. Ice cream, golf, ice fishing, trapping. Oh, super chat popped in. Danny Rock, there it is. Thank you so much, Danny Rock. Appreciate the super chat. That's awesome. Really appreciate that. Matty B, I bet a lot of people don't know you own an ice cream stand. Probably not. My employees don't even know I have a YouTube channel, and that's one of the funniest things to me because, like, they'll find out. I've had employees that have worked for me for like 2 or 3 years, and they find out like through their parents or their parents' friend or an uncle or something, and they get the connection, and they're like, "What? He's got a YouTube channel?" And they show up to work the next day, and they're like, "You got a YouTube channel with like 50,000 subscribers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of a side thing." Any tricks on fishing moving water under the ice like Wyman Lake? The only super moving water I've ever fished was the Kennebec River in Gardner and closer to Augusta. You got to use heavier weights and you got to watch those tides. You know, if you could drop like the weight down and then throw a leader off that with your bait, you're going to have a better chance of catching a fish. So, guys, we're getting late. I'm pretty tired. I guess this has been over a 2-hour live stream. The cookies are still cooking, I guess. Oh man, they're burnt to a crisp. No, I'm just kidding. The cookies are right there. I've only eaten like half of one. They're pretty dry. You're gonna have to dip them in your tea in the morning or in your coffee in the morning. But yeah, so that's the camp setup. If you guys are just tuning in, stay tuned for more videos. I got a couple more from that last series going up. Give that perch fishing video a little love for tonight. CJ and I went out and caught some big yellow perch, and there's a couple more videos left on that series. I think you're gonna really like one of them in particular. We brought someone along that was able to video for us, so I didn't have to focus on the video, and I could focus more on talking to the camera and focus on the trapping and what we were doing. So yeah, so really appreciate it, guys. I won't have a chance to read all these comments. Really appreciate all the super chats. Appreciate all the love for Donnie that you guys have given in the comments. Hopefully he gets a chance to see those, or he's heard me talking about them. There's Drexel, buddy. I'm so glad you're still watching. I know it's late, buddy. But we're going to end this live stream here in a couple minutes. If anybody has any super important questions or anything that they want to ask or say anything, now's a great time to do it. Otherwise, tomorrow I'm going to try to catch a state record fish. I'm going to try to catch a state record. We're going to see how it goes. Real Canuck wants to know where you can get greenback walleyes in Maine. You can't. You got to come see us on Winnipeg. You are correct. Good night, Maryland. Happy hiker. Thanks for tuning in. Kyle Cobb, see you on the ice someday. There's Drexel or Brett. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Really appreciate it. And the rest, everybody else, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Really appreciate all the support for the channel. If you don't like this type of content and somehow you're here watching it right now, do me a favor and just unsubscribe from the channel. It's the easiest thing in the world. There's very few YouTubers that ask you to unsubscribe from their channel. But if you don't like this type of content, you don't like the stuff on here, then just do us all a favor and hit that unsubscribe button, and it won't show up in your feed anymore. And it won't hurt us in the algorithm or anything like that. So don't be afraid to unsubscribe if you don't like it, and you can do the opposite if you do like it. So really appreciate all the support. I really appreciate all the kind stuff you guys say to the people that are on my channel that I choose to spend my time with. And you know, those guys get to see all the comments too. And believe me, it means something to them, you know, when they're reading through the comments on a video that they, you know, didn't get to edit and they didn't get to shoot the video and they were just part of the video, you know, so they don't know what's going to be on there or how they're going to look or whatever, or how they're going to look to the public, and they're not used to being in the public all the time, like if a guy that's on YouTube or something. So when they do get flooded with really cool comments, you know, you guys have been awesome with CJ this year. You've been awesome with all my buddies. So I really appreciate that more than anything else. So thank you guys for that. And I will see you guys soon. It's going to be an awesome day tomorrow.